The destruction of the Austro-Hungarian Empire is one of the most important events in all of human history. Without it, there would be no Anschluss, no partition of Czechoslovakia, and no Yugoslavia. Despite this, the end of the Austro-Hungarian Empire is rarely discussed in detail. They normally say, oh yeah, lost a war, they were multi-ethnic, and so all the nationalities declared independence, and then Hungary, Asto evolution thing. But they never take the time to explain in detail how Europe went from this to this in a matter of months. This video, then, shall attempt to give you a full timeline, in as much detail as possible, of the destruction of the Habsburg Empire. 636 years of Habsburg rule in Eastern Europe. In 1915, the Balkans fell to the Central Powers, and Serbian troops evacuated their lands. But, in 1917, Greece joined the war against the Central Powers. Suddenly, Serbia was back for round 2. After defeating Bulgaria, a combined French-Serbian force launched an offensive straight up through Serbia, and, on the 1st of November, they retook the capital city of Belgrade. Now, Serbian troops stopped to rest for a minute. Okay, 28th of October. Czechoslovakia declares independence. Also 28th to 31st of October, the Asto revolution happens in Hungary, which puts a guy called Count Karoli in charge of the country as they declare independence from Austria Hungary. And Austria Hungary without Hungary is just sort of Austria, so that kind of meant the end of Austria Hungary at that point. Meanwhile, the Croatian parliament votes to cease all ties with the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and the intention of this declaration of independence isn't full independence, but to unite with Serbia and Montenegro. That's their long-term goal, to unite with Serbia and Montenegro. Meanwhile, on the 1st of November, Serbia recaptures Belgrade, and the plan is to send a few dozen Serbian troops into Austria-Hungary, just so they can say they've invaded Austria-Hungary. So they come up with a plan. They're going to send in a few dozen volunteers into areas of Austria-Hungary that are really pro-Serbian, and so there won't be much civil resistance. And if, and only if, the enemy withdraws quickly, will they send in the proper Serbian army, because the proper Serbian army has to be rested after, you know, marching all the way here from Greece. And the orders are to only advance as far as they can be easily supplied. But then they realised something. Hungary had just declared independence. But not only that, but the new government in Hungary had recalled 1.2 million troops from the front, in the hopes that the Allies would be more lenient if they showed that they were less aggressive. Tiny Serbia was a country on the border of massive Austria-Hungary, yet they were at a point where their military was stronger than Austria-Hungary. They had an opportunity to annihilate that major nation, so it would never be a threat to Serbia again, and they could even get more land in the process. This was an opportunity that a tiny country like Serbia only gets once in 1,000 years. If ever. Actually, this isn't a once in 1,000 years opportunity. This is like a once opportunity, pretty much. So the orders changed. Suddenly, the Serbian army was getting no rest. No longer was the plan to advance as far as they could easily be supplied. The plan was to advance as far and as hard as possible. So in early November, a combined French-Serbian force poured into the southern region of the Habsburg realms. On the 1st of November, West Ukraine declares independence and the Banat Republic is proclaimed. 3rd of November, armistice signed between Austria-Hungary and the Allies. 4th November, Kamansa Republic, I don't know how to pronounce it, Kamansa Republic was declared, and it wanted to unite with West Ukraine. Also on the 4th of November, Italy occupies the Tyrol. And remember how in Prague, Czechoslovakia declared independence in October? Well, in early November, they deployed their armies to take control of Slovakia. You know, Czechoslovakia, without the Slovakia, is just Czechia. So, yeah, well, they had to conquer Slovakia, obviously, so off they went. And then there were skirmishes between Czechoslovakian and Hungarian troops. 10th of November. Now, Romania had left the war in 1917. However, it rejoined on the 10th of November, literally one day before the armistice got signed, because it wanted to make sure it could get as much land as possible. It had already taken Bessarabia from Russia. Now it was planning on taking Transylvania from Hungary. On the 12th of November, Austria is declared a republic, meaning the last land controlled by the Austro-Hungarian Empire is now no longer controlled by the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They're gone. They're gone. On the 13th of November, the Romanian army begins its advance into Transylvania. Also on the 13th, Montenegro agrees to unite with Serbia. Meanwhile, remember the Banat Republic? Well, on the 15th of November, Serbian troops arrived at the gate of its capital city, Timisoara. They had invaded 2 days earlier, but they'd only arrived at the capital city 2 days later. Anyway, now they're going to siege the capital city. Now, Serbia wants to control the entirety of the Banat Republic, but given that there's more than double the amount of Romanians as Serbians in there, well, Romania's going to try claim it as well, because there's so many Romanians there. 28th November, Bukovina agrees to join Romania. 1st of December, Transylvania joins Romania. And on the 1st of December, the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes is created, uniting Serbia, Montenegro, and, well, the Yugoslav areas of Austria Hungary. 5th of December, the Lemko-Rusin Republic is formed, with the intention of uniting with Russia. When it becomes obvious that that's impossible, they ask to unite with Czechoslovakia. This republic survived for 2 years before it got conquered by Poland in 1920. December 6th, a demarcation line is drawn between Slovakia and Hungary. January 23rd, a couple months later, a war begins between Czechoslovakia and Poland over this bit of land here. In the end, they would end up splitting the land between them. However, Poland was lucky because militarily, Czechoslovakia crushed them. Poland lost half their force, Czechoslovakia lost barely any. January 24th, a day after the Czechoslovakian-Polish War began, Poland conquered that Komantso Republic, remember? That wanted to unite with West Ukraine. And West Ukraine itself in 1920 would officially get annexed by Poland. And then we get into the Hungarian-Romanian War. Basically, Karolyi and his government resigned as rulers of Hungary, and they were replaced by the Communist Party under Bela Kun. The Communist Party came to power promising to take back all Hungary's lost territory. So they immediately invade Transylvania to try to take it back from Romania. The invasion fails, and Romania pushes them back for a while until eventually they manage to halt the Romanian advance. They also come under attack by Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia and also France. Under attack from 3 sides, the Hungarian Red Army launches an attack north into Slovakia, cutting off the Romanians from the Czechoslovakians. Then they begin planning an offensive to take Ruthenia, but then they made a mistake. What they should have done was declared their new conquered land a part of Hungary. I mean, they've just retaken some of the land that Hungary lost, right? That's the reason everyone supported them. So it would have been a massive morale boost on the home front if they'd declared it a part of Hungary, and it would have gained them a bunch of support and possibly new recruits. Instead, Slovakia was declared a puppet state, which is not the same thing, and suddenly everyone was furious at the government for letting Slovakia be independent. Well, not independent, but you know what I mean, not be a part of Hungary. This decrease in the support for the Communist Party was partially what allowed the Czechoslovakians to retake their lost land. The Hungarians then launched an offensive against Romania, which failed, and the Romanians took over Budapest. With the Communists overthrown, a non-communist government became in charge of Hungary, and after 2 peace treaties that ended World War I, the borders of the Balkans were fixed at this. And you know what this meant? It now meant there was no longer a great power in Central Europe. It means that the Soviet Union no longer had a great power to curb its expansion. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Good night.